Well, it's Wednesday morning, it's 10 after 10. Sorry for the delay. This has been a day. Like I said, I've been dog sitting, and the dogs decided to get up at the crack of dawn. In this case, it was the yelp of dawn. um, so I knew I was going to be a little bit tired, and I'm more than that because, let's just say I did manage to get down the stairs without hurting anything, but I then spilled the wash water. Fortunately, that's all it was. We have these little yogurt containers or whatever they used to be that have brush washing water in them. And geez, look, yeah, I spilled it there too. I don't know how I did that because anyway, so I spilled some and I had to clean that up. And then I got started on time. There's a Stream Deck thing here with clearly labeled buttons on them. Very, very clearly labeled buttons. There used to be a whole lot more of them that required pushing them in a certain sequence, and our DM decided that I wasn't really capable of doing that, I guess. And I think she was right because there's like 4 buttons on it, and they're each 2 inches apart. They're clearly labeled, and I pushed the wrong one. And as if you've been watching, 7 minutes and 35 seconds into the I'll be starting any minute thing, I pushed the end stream button, and I had to restart everything. So that took a few minutes. So something, I have to turn that off. It looks like it's working. The camera's working. It says it's recording and streaming. I've spilled water here on the paper towel. And I've got these guys that I'm going to be finishing this morning. There's some detail that needs to be done. Not much on these, just the scopes. I'm going to paint those black so that they stand out just a little bit. And then they're going to be washed in a dark gray wash. These are going to require a little bit more attention. There's a tank on here. These are going to be poison gas throwers, not flame throwers, but poison gas throwers. And I'm going to paint that tank and then the barrel. Since it's poison gas, I'm going to paint the barrel green. I don't know, maybe bronze, and then put a green wash on it. But the tank doesn't show very much, but I want it to be kind of cool looking, sort of. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to put some of this. I just knocked it over. I'm seriously. This is going to be a dangerous day today. I think I'm going to probably like end early. We'll see how this goes. If I no. Let's see if I knock things down or break them or something. I've got a coffee mug over behind me, and I'd really like to have some, but I'm kind of afraid what would happen between here and there. So this is kind of a slightly glossy, translucent yellow. And what I'm going to try to, put some on the paper here because I want to test something. I want to do a test. Spread this out. Nice bright color. yesterday I just watched something that was kind of boring and relaxing, and the painting show, the Bob Ross painting show. And when he's doing painting, he talks in plurals like I do. I didn't know that. I didn't really ever pay attention before. I was paying attention to myself and realizing that, okay, we're going to put some yellow on here. No, I'm putting yellow on here. We're not. But that's how he talked too. He was painting some trees on a mountain and says, we're going to take the 2-inch brush and just dab it like this. And then we're going to do this. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe that's what happens when old people are in possession of paint, is they start talking like they're not alone. I don't know. I'm not going to do too much to these guys. I'm just painting the scope black. Okay, so that it shows up. Otherwise, it kind of disappears into the gun because it's the same color as the gun right now. So this is a glossy. I want the glossy one. I had my paint chart out just a while ago. Well, you are witnessing one of those days. This is one of those days. It's hard to miss. It's just like 8.5 by 11 ring binder. It's blue. Yeah. That was really sad. Definitely a pathetic event. I want the game color, not the model. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, okay. You didn't hear that because the microphone blots out a lot, like screens out the noise. Okay. Like you can't hear the furnace running and you can't hear the dogs barking when they bark. Stuff like that. You can't do that. You can't because the microphone screens all those sounds. There's 2 of them. I need 1 of them. But this is just amazing. What happened was I set the ring binder down where it was before, but this time it fell. So I set it down and I turned around, and as I turned around, it fell down. Getting some nice standing waves. You can't see them. I wonder if you can see that. See the standing waves in the wash water as this vibrates here. I'm going to stir this a good long time. Or if I'm talking in plurals, we're all going to sit here and not see what I'm doing because it's off to the side there, this vibrator thing that we bought to mix paint. There's certain tools modelers really should have, like if you're working on a really slim budget like I do, because, nobody's paying for the show. I'm not getting paid or anything. So, but there's a few tools that you really should have, like this little micro saw. I invested in just recently, and I wish I had for the submarine. But this is really useful for cutting pieces off of the plastic sprues without damaging the model underneath without breaking it off and leaving indentations in the model. file little microfiles. Those are really good things to have, and decent selection of sandpaper. One thing I can't live without anymore is my head magnifier. Really hardly do anything without it. These are not extremely difficult things to paint here, these scopes, but they're hard for me to see without this. So I'm putting it on. Us. See, I did the plural thing again. Difference. The difference between the silvery paint that I used on the armor and the stuff I used on the gun is pretty amazing. The stuff I used on the armor is designed for airbrushing, and so the particles in it are really, really infinitesimally tiny, really tiny. But the paint I used on the gun is just a regular brush-on paint. And the particles are much larger, so it looks like glitter as opposed to a smooth metal surface. Just painting the front rim of the scope there. And then there's a back part here I'm going to paint black. So it isn't really much, okay, in terms of paint, but suddenly you can, the scope is just a whole lot more obvious now. I think I'm going to paint a bit on top as well, just to do it, just so you can see where the edge of it is. And this paint is just slightly glossy as opposed to the flat black. Right? That's the effect that I want. It'll dull down a little bit as it dries. But this guy's ready for a wash now. And I'm going to be using dark gray wash, and everything is going to get washed, okay, which makes it pretty straightforward and, relaxing, sort of. The only difficult part is then making sure that I don't miss spots. I'm doing this. The yellow paint is drying. And once I'm done with this, it should be dry enough to test the effect that I'm going to try to do for the bottles that are on the gas throwers. This brush is coming apart. It forked. So instead of having one point, I had two. Oh, I'm on camera. Huh. I hadn't paid attention. I looked up, and what I'm doing is actually on camera. That's how many times have I said that? Like every time, right? Is this on camera? No, you've been. Oh, look, there's a whole piece of the gun there on the scope that I didn't even paint the base color. Amazing. When I'm looking at things through these magnifiers is the only way I can really see things. But it's sort of sometimes it's see the flaws that were invisible. Okay, I think that's good enough. You see the scope on there. That was worth the effort. Clean up the black paint and take this off for a minute. The relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons, which is a Dungeons and Dragons show. I have to put a plug in at least twice during the stream. Watch the show. It's really, really good. We put on an excellent, Dungeons and Dragons show, which streams with a live chat on Sundays at 3 Sundays a month. This is a spin-off started out basically doing what I'm doing now, which is painting minifigs and dungeon tiles for the show. And I'm painting minifigs. These are parts of a Dwarven clan that is kind of doesn't. Well, let's just say they're upset with us because we stole some of their stuff and kind of blew up their castle. I don't remember exactly. I don't think we blew it up, actually. I think we just set it on fire. Maybe we blew it up. Anyway, we did a heist. And when we did our getaway from the heist, there was either an explosion or a fire or both. Anyway, they're upset with us. Yeah, they're upset with us now, and what you going to do? So the thing I'm testing here is I'm thinking of painting the tanks here on these gas throwers a base coat of yellow and then putting a green wash on it. I don't know how that's going to look. I'm hoping it looks cool. Let's find out. No, it doesn't look good at all. It just went dark. No, that's disappointing. Okay, well, I'm glad I tested it. To see what it would look like, because it doesn't look good. The green wash is it's too dark. It works really well on sewer tiles. And it's painted against a gray color. It looks like slime, mold and slime. Against the yellow, it's just dark. Buttons. Try this. Yep, drop the brush. It is a day, isn't it? See, it's kind of a pleasant looking green. It doesn't look like a gas can. It doesn't look like a gas can green. I was kind of hoping the yellow would work. Because, kind of would be like yellow with green swirls in it. Got some speed paints here, but I haven't used these in ages. I don't know how this is going to look. What it should do is, that's what I'm going to try. Huh. Yeah, why not? It's kind of translucent. It might work if I dry brush that on. It'll be nice and it'll be kind of bright. I was kind of hoping for it's going to work for the barrel. Barrel on the back. It's light green with this wash on it, and that's going to look okay. I was thinking of using this green. So let me just keep testing this. Let's see how this looks. Whoa, that's not good. That is that's the pigment isn't mixed yet. I thought I could shortcut it, but I can't. What happens is, especially with the greens and some of the blues, pigment and the solvent separate. I mean, in a serious way. And they just require a massive amount of shaking put back together. And what we have there is pretty much the dark green solvent. And it's not at all the color of the paint that I was expecting to get. So a little mixing ball in there, which is helping some. If it's any better. Yeah, that's the color it's supposed to be. Pretty dark. You know, there's a lot of paint on there, more than I thought there would be. Well, I haven't gotten much done yet because I'm experimenting with different colors for some of the detail on these minifigs, and they're carrying a barrel, and this is working. This is light green with a green, this olive green wash on it. That's going to look okay for the barrels. I have to decide what color to paint the metal parts. I really like this bronze. I'm going to paint it bronze. Jump and get that paint while I'm at it here. Now I've got like 8 little piles of paint out here. I'm not putting things away, and I'm just making a mess. The other thing is, so the beards on these guys, I painted them orange and red. Those came out okay. The beards on these guys, I painted them a brown, and it's just sucky. Paint one. I'm going to repaint them. I got this yellow out. If I painted one of them black, it would show better, but they just don't show. They kind of blend in with the kind of rusty color of the armor and all. Too bad. This one's not too bad, but it's too light. I'm going to get a livery or something. I guess what I'm kind of planning to do today is just not get anything done. I'm going to get these figures done. I mean, I can hardly help it, right? Can hardly help getting them done. In 3 hours, but in like 2 hours, I think I'll do that. And I'm painting just these little bits on here that aren't even going to show when they're on screen. Seriously, you're not even going to be able to see the tank from the angle that it's showing on. You'll be able to see the barrels. So I don't know why I'm spending so much time messing around with it. I'm repainting the beards on these guys a lighter color. Especially this one. Beard just disappeared. Just disappeared into the depths of the other colors. I'm going to be brave and get my coffee mug. I don't know if that. I set my coffee mug down, and as I was bringing my finger back, I hooked it on the edge of the wash water tub and almost knocked it over. This is going to be a miracle if I can get through to noon Eastern time. If I can get through to noon, about some sort of thing happening. What I mean by thing is bad. What I mean by thing is like knocking something over and making a huge spill or breaking something. So this beard made a difference. This beard is going to be almost white, but then it'll have a wash on it. Here, it's not beautiful, but it'll do. Especially, well, yeah. I'm going to have to do some touching up on that. I got the white paint on spots and places where it shouldn't be. I'll let that dry and then come back to it. This one, is really, I don't know what to do with this one. Oh, what the heck? Paint it this color. I've got this paint out. Why not? To just sort of gonna dry brush over it to make it look brighter. Maybe. Well, that's creating a really gross color. This is beautiful. Actually, I just had another thought. With this, instead of putting green on the yellow, I put yellow on the green. That's what I'm going to do. I had a happy accident there. Ta-da. I'm just going to fix some spots that are problem. Still sort of a problem, but not as much of a problem as they were up until a moment ago. Not on camera. Okay. Not on camera. Yeah, that'll do. Set this down. Cap this up. So what I have done here is I found that if I use this dark green color and then put this kind of goopy translucent yellow over it, it looks gloopy. That's going to be the gas inside the. That's going to be the gas bottle. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and paint those now. When I do the wash, I'll just avoid those areas. So this is what happens when one experiments with stuff and has an aha moment, kind of. This isn't too bad with the light green. Intermediate green? Actually, I do. Let me just keep pulling different greens out. Why not? Goblin green. Another one of these you can see was laying on its side, and you can see the separation there. I'm gonna just end up spending, I don't know, 45 minutes playing around with different colors for the gas bottle. Kind of like a total waste of time, really, because it's going to be invisible when it's on screen. But it is giving me an opportunity to paint Dungeons and Dragons miniatures that will actually be used on our D&D show. And it gives me more opportunities to like knock things over and maybe spill something. I haven't spilled anything really yet. The little shaker thing really mixes it up nicely, but it I was using it with a wash once, and it vibrated the cap off, and it spilled everywhere. It's still remnants of it. There's still remnants of it showing. Yep, didn't hear that because the microphone masked the sound of me knocking the paint bottle over. See if this is stirred up enough to use. Really, nothing substitutes a good shaking with a hand. This one might be the best. We'll see how it looks with the yellow on it. It's kind of a sickly looking green by itself. That's right. What I'm going to do now is get the light green back. While I'm waiting for that to dry so I can test it with the yellow, I'm going to paint the barrels. The barrels are going to be painted this light green, which is not a very good barrel color, but with the green wash on it, the olive green wash, it's going to look okay. It's going to look pretty good. Just going to keep these on while I'm painting because that way I can see what I'm doing. So this is a good thing, you know, if you're building models, you're not really sure what kind of colors or what color combinations are going to look good. Let's just get a piece of paper or like an index card or whatever you've got around, and do some color swatch testing. And it won't look exactly like it'll look on the model because, like in this case, it's got a gray primer on it and the paper is white. So the undercoat is a little bit different color, but you know, it's a good idea because then you won't end up making a mistake like that would have been if I'd just gone ahead and done that. A smaller brush probably than I should, mainly because I need to get in underneath here, back of the barrel. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do this part with the little brush, and I'll get a bigger brush out to finish. So days. Barrel staves on it. Yeah, it's even done on the bottom. I thought it would be. You know, getting it up onto the rings kind of intentionally because I'm going to be painting those from the top, and the paint's not going to get down all the way to the. See what I mean? I'm going to be able to paint the edges of the rings, the metal rings holding the barrel together. With, if these were a display model, it wouldn't look that good because the edges would be in the wrong place. Right, you know, pretty much. But this is going to be on screen, so it's going to be seen from a distance by a camera, and you, the audience, will be seeing it on your monitor. or TV if you stream it like on YouTube or something. And stuff that I can see with these head magnifiers will be totally invisible to you. The edges here, if the boundary between the barrel and the guy is not perfect, well, you'll never know because the resolution as it goes from the camera, which is at a distance, under indirect lighting to your monitor or screen, and the distance that you'll have from there, it'll look better than it really is. Good idea. I shouldn't reach for something. I could bump into something else. These are wooden barrels. The print is really good. It has all sorts of really good, the barrel staves are nicely defined. Just say it's really a good print. Most of this is going to be invisible. I'm going to be putting a green wash on it. That will hopefully, it's supposed to sink into the deep spots, and what it should end up doing is revealing the barrel staves, the texture of the barrel staves and all of that really nicely. That's what it's supposed to do. And it'll make it look less like it looks now, which is, a really pretty green, but not menacing. It's not a menacing green. They contain something you don't want to come in contact with. And hopefully, when I'm done to wash on them, just keep reminding myself and everybody else that these are not display models. Okay, they're not. Hey, Enforcer, thanks for dropping in. It's been an interesting day today. The dogs I'm watching got up really early, way earlier than I usually get up, so I'm kind of tired. And I've had several minor accidents already, just knocking things over. Spilled the wash water, knocked over some paint tubes, dropped a brush. So far, the accidents haven't been they haven't been awful. Nothing really awful has happened, but it's just a warning to me that this could be a spillage day. Yeah, and then they get up early and they're very nice about it, right? They just get down on the floor and they whine, dog whining sounds, and then get their noses up and poke you with their little nose going. That was one of those things. As I was taking the brush away from the painting surface, I banged it into the back of this guy's helmet. Okay. So the wooden part is base coated. Now I'm gonna paint the I can't remember anything today. My brain is like in a total fog. Okay, so hopefully, this weekend. That would be really cool to get that started again. Which one do you think you're going to play? And which character would that be then? Okay, that last one is definitely the one. This is the okay. So you'll need to be prepared for anything. Um, so they have these gas throwers, and there's a little bottle on it, a container of liquid, and this is the color, that base green with the yellow on it. Looks gooey enough, looks yucky enough to. I'm going to do that. So it was the third color that I finally used. That is the one I'm going to use. This green. I need this wash. The barrel hoops. That's what they are. Barrel hoops, right? I finally remembered a word. I'm going to paint bronze, and then I'm going to give it the same olive green wash as everything else. And hopefully they'll look corroded then. Well, hopefully they'll join in. I bet it's been a long time since you've been able to play it. What, like 2 months almost? So what is Logan? What is Logan? What character type, depending on what you play? Yeah, our D&D show is 4 of us as well. We schedule a regular time, and sometimes we're on time, and sometimes people are late. But um, we've been pretty committed to it, so it's worked out. I mean, no, I can't imagine larger groups like Ole Brager, who comes on now and then. Okay, you've seen him. I think he's playing with a group of 6, so that's even harder to pull off. You can probably see this. I've talked about this palette before. These are like a dime a piece. You get a dozen of them for $4 or something. I don't know. That would be what, a quarter a piece then. And they're designed for elementary school painting projects. You know, everybody gets in the classroom gets one, and then when you're done, you throw them away. And I just keep cleaning it and reusing it. But this has gotten to the point where I have decided it needs to be retired. So these minifigs are going to be the last hurrah for this palette thing. After these, I am tossing it and finding the other ones. Okay. Oh, the rogue. Okay. I think using their character names is good. That way you can talk about them. without revealing like personal details, which you really don't want to do. It's always good to have a rogue. The problem with rogues is rogues are so overpowered sometimes. They do this sneak attack. You run into this vicious enemy boss, sort of, or group or whatever, and your barbarian or your fighter rushes in, to take the damage and gets half killed. And then it's the rogue's turn because they rolled a terrible initiative. Why not, right? And then they do the Mighty Mouse thing. Here I come to save the day. Yeah, you don't want to give it. That's a good thing to do, is to not give out information. But you can say, I'm playing with a rogue named Logan. I think that's a good, safe way to do it. We used to have a rogue in our party way, way at the very beginning. It was a goblin rogue, but the player wasn't able to keep up with us and had to drop out. And so the story became that the character had been framed, actually framed by these guys, the ones I'm painting now, the Ulstein-Grotfeld family, and is languishing in prison right now. And that's how that was the backstory of why our rogue wasn't with us any longer. It was a very sad parting. It actually was. I mean, we were seriously, as not just as characters, but as players, really sad. Romar left us. But as I was saying, so your barbarian or your fighter rushes in and says, I'll take the damage, I'll protect you guys, and gets half dead. And your rogue does, here I come to save the day, and does a stealth thing somehow or other. I don't know. I've never played a rogue, so I don't know if they're cheating or not. I mean, for all I know is whoever's playing rogues is always cheating. It seems like it to me. I'll just say that because they stealth in and they get like triple damage and 4 hits, or I'm exaggerating, but it just seems like they just sort of pop in out of nowhere, and the guy that half killed my character, the fighter, no, it's defeated. It's one shot. Someday I should look up the rules for rogues and find out if. Anyway, it's handy to have them because they do save the day sometimes. But my experience has been that they seemed way overpowered. Our DM, who is the DM, right? So not playing, frequently plays a rogue and enjoys doing that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, the goblin rogue was a pretty powerful character, but the player had to leave the show because we recorded 3 episodes a month minimum, and they just couldn't keep up with their schedule. They couldn't commit to a reliable schedule. Let's put it that way. So in order to balance the party, our DM created like an NPC character, Owen, a ranger. And a ranger is really handy to have because they can do a fair amount of damage and they're ranged, so they can kind of stay out of trouble mostly. Owen's been a pretty good addition to the character. Owen also pays for everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really do. So it actually, it probably turned out okay. When the goblin was with us in combat, there were a couple of times when just, insane kind of just irrational amount of damage. I'm sitting there flailing away with my longsword, doing D8 plus 4 or something. And I usually rolled a 3. So I wasn't doing a lot of damage, and the rogue came along and I just went, whoop, oh, dead. Okay, well. So it went. Okay, that doesn't look. No, you didn't mention that. What does a supremacy subclass do? This looks really clean and shiny, but it'll look better once it's washed with the olive green wash. It'll look more menacing than it does shiny, clean. At least I hope so, because otherwise it's going to, miss the point of being a cask of poison gas. I have to say, maybe these guys, carrying poison gas. Wow. I just saw a spot where I smashed the armor with the green paint. Carrying a supply of poison gas around inside of a wooden barrel. That's not a safe thing to do. I'm going to recommend to everybody out there that if you're carrying a large volume of poison gas around, probably find something better than a wooden barrel to carry it, especially if you got it on your back like this. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought it said Superman. See, because I don't have. I couldn't read the screen. The Sugar Man. See, yes. You said that you saw a video of that. It sounds. We need one of those. Our party needs to recruit. And maybe even like a follower or a hanger-on or something. A sugar mancy wizard. I mean, we're not called Midnight Brunch for no reason. We're very food oriented. If you were to watch our show, you would know that. But yeah, Sugarmancy is just absolutely perfect. So somebody came up with that as a homebrew, right? And I would have known that if I'd been able to see. I would have remembered Sugarmancy, of course, as opposed to supremacy, which is sort of how that word looked when all of the letters were out of focus. So if you're playing a wizard in your game, could you like learn Sugarmancy, maybe not as your primary level skill, but just like the side thing, like a second job. I think it'd be fun if your DM let you do that. I would I would definitely welcome a Sugarmancy wizard to join us. Wow, I am not. I am definitely going to avoid doing anything that's really like working on the airplane today would be the Savoia would be a disaster. Just because of how unfocused I am. Just really not good. Oh, that's pretty fun. Can you remind me, was Fauna playing in the hero system? Yeah. I mean the support wizard would be, I mean, it would definitely be a support role, kind of in the background. But I don't know if it's copyrighted or anything, is it? I hope not. But I think it would be kind of fun for our party to, just in one of the towns we're in for a reason, whatever reason, no reason, stumble onto a wizard who might join us for a little while, hang out with us. Yeah, too powerful for D&D, but should work in the hero system. So if you play this weekend, you're gonna play Fauna. think it would be cool if you could. I'm going to be painting the bottles here. That'd be a lot of fun. So that um, maybe on Friday when I get on, you can tell me whether you're actually going to be able to get together or not, and a little bit about how you're going to be playing the role that you're in. For those of you who aren't watching the screen, Enforcer has been away from the game for a while, and is finally going to, hopefully this weekend, get back together into it. It'll be fun to hear about how it goes. See how this goes. Oh, thank you. Person who made that up, I mean, that's really clever, and it's the kind of thing, that if people are playing really hardcore, constantly battling dragonkin and angels and demons and things like that, they probably wouldn't enjoy a sugarmancy wizard. But the kind of game that we're playing, um, it's supposed to be humorous as well, because the game is a show, and there has to be something going on that captures the attention and imagination of, oh geez, sorry. um there's just a flaw down here, just a little support string on the bottom of the tank, right in a place where it will be a real problem. I mean, I talk about things not showing that much because everything's at a distance, on camera, but that would be a problem. I'm going to take a second, in just a second, and Enforcer put something up on the screen that I need to write down. And I need to do that before the chat screen scrolls. So, and I need to put my other glasses on too. So there's going to be a brief interruption here while I copy something down. It helps when I can read the screen. No, it's not a distraction. I like the Sugar Manzer wizard thing. Yumba's homebrew hangout. Whoever that is has made a thing that I think is hilarious and wonderful. So will you know by Friday whether you're going to be playing or not? So that when you get on chat, hopefully you'll get on chat, you'll be able to tell us all what you're going to be doing, whether it's going to be D&D and or Hero. Personally, I'm rooting for Fauna. I really liked your description of and Fauna's backstory. Yeah, the word. I'm rooting for you being able to play Fauna this weekend. But even if you don't, just to be able to get back to the game and hang out with your friends again, because I know it's been a while. And it's been a while because, some of them bad time during the storm. Yep, you might be a D&D. Okay, brought to you by. Yeah, since the hurricane was just, I don't know what to say. I live in a part of the country where we don't have hurricanes. We'll get winds. Sometimes there's a straight line thunderstorm. Rarely there's a tornado. We haven't had a tornado around where I live for dozens and dozens of years. They don't get very powerful here. But we can get some pretty nasty thunderstorms. The most damaging things that happen up here are ice storms. Ice storms are really, especially the trees. It's really sad, the devastation that an ice storm can wreak on trees. Just takes them down. And then, of course, the power is going to be out for 3 or 4 days, but it's kind of like that's the closest we come to what you experienced. Okay, well, this barrel looks really out of place because it's all shiny green and bronze and everything like that, but I'm going to be washing it with a olive green wash, and it's going to end up looking dirty and used and gassy and stuff like that. At least that's the hope. And I'm going to do that now. All four figures are going to be washed in a dark gray wash, like from head to toe. But take care of the barrels now. And while I'm doing the barrels, the gas canisters will be drying so that I can put the yellow goopy stuff on. I'm wearing out quickly here today. Yeah. When I said I'll probably end early, what is it? It's 11:30 already. Oh, man. I really want to finish these. So I'm going to do my best to get them done. I guess that means that I need to move along a little more quickly, maybe. There you can see how the wash, it fills in the gaps in the barrel staves, so it highlights them. And it is supposed to cut down on the greenness of it. I'm going to put the wash on pretty heavy here. I want them to look messy. And even come back and do a second coat. Let's see how that looks when it dries. Well, you can see it before and after anyway. The one on the left is the one that's washed, and it looks closer to what it should look like. Well, thanks for joining in. Hopefully I'll see you on Friday, and you'll be able to report on what's going to be happening with your game over the weekend. But thanks for joining in on chat. I look forward to talking with you again later this week. Well, I squeezed out like 10 times more wash than I needed. There are certain recurring themes on this show, as you might have noticed. One is me saying, well, I squeezed out 10 times more paint or wash or whatever than I needed. Sometimes it's even more than that. Why am I even wearing these when I'm doing this? So that's a recurring thing. Geez, I can't believe that happened, is another kind of recurring thing. And that's the kind of thing that happens on days like today, when I have been knocking things over and spilling them. Okay, this barrel is coming out okay. I hope that doesn't foreshadow some sort of disaster. Just checking it to make sure I don't have any bright spots. I don't want any bright spots. Hope Zoria, who is an artist, Zoria is her character name, approves of the barrels, because I think they came out pretty decent, considering that I'm not a skilled artist, or even a semi-skilled artist, or even a slightly skilled artist, or anything having to do with things like that. Mostly an unskilled, hoping not to make a mess. Or guess I'm going to use this brush on the bottles. I never did get around to watching an episode of the Mickey Mouse Club. I'm gonna rail on about the Mickey Mouse Club. I'm gonna, maybe even the rest of the week. Why not? Wallow in my ignorance about the Mickey Mouse Club, even though I used to watch it all the time as a kid, the original. Okay, I am a veteran of the original Mickey Mouse Club. And I couldn't remember what all the days were, so I actually looked them up, anything can happen day, guest star day, fun with music day. This is coming out okay too. I'm starting to get worried about how some of these things are actually looking pretty good. And it's all because of my test patches. All because I tried everything out ahead of time. Thank you for the new follow. I really appreciate it. And since you're just on, I'm going to talk a little bit about Dice and Dungeons. And what I'm doing is I'm painting minifigs that are going to show up as adversaries in our Dungeons and Dragons show. These are almost done. I need to let this dry. I'm embellishing a little bit of the our DM used model of a flamethrower, but in reality, I mean game reality, in the context of the game, these are, see, it's green, is I guess these are going to be like poison gas. So this is the container down here, and I, after experimenting many times with different base colors and different over colors, discovered this one. And I have to say, I'm really quite pleased at how that looks. That's the poison gas container thing, and it looks menacing. But anyway, they're not flamethrowers; they're poison gas throwers, and these are allowed to exist in our D&D world. It can't be done. They keep breaking the bulb. Okay, how many rogues does it take to change a light bulb? I'm always up for a good rogue joke. They don't have light bulbs in D&D. They can't be done. No, that's not fair. But tell me, how many? I can sort of read the screen. So apparently these guys are permitted to have ranged weapons like gas dispensers, and I guess these are some sort of projectile weapon, because this particular family of dwarves has been stealing a thing called fervent tech, which was created by a guy named Fervent hundreds of years ago using what are power crystals. They're crystals that give off power that can be used to heat cities and create light. My character has actually developed expertise in fervent tech by having studying it for the last year or so. This is a homebrew game, so we can do that kind of thing. And as a result, these guys are stealing it wherever they could find it. Hi, Enforcer. Oh, well, that's important. So are you going to be applying for jobs then? And if so, good luck. So Hyperfox, how many rogues does it take to change a light bulb? Or Enforcer? How many rogues would you say it takes to change a light bulb? So there was one joke, I forget what it was. It was, how many of whatever does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer was 5. And why did it take 5? Well, it was like 1 to hold the bulb and 4 to pick up and turn the chair. right? Okay, so you just hold the bulb and then you're on a chair and they pick it up and rotate it. There was one like, how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? I used to work in an organization that had therapists, and I could tell that joke because, they were there. It was just one, but the light bulb has to really want to change. There, that's that. Light bulb jokes are, I don't know, they're that way. I think you should develop a sugar mancer. Okay, these guys need to be toned down. So what is going to happen now is that if you look at the one on the left and the one on the right, this one is one I had painted some time ago, and there's a dark gray wash that goes over the entire thing. Okay, and you can see how it changes the character of the model. So it's not a real heavy wash. I'm going to use a kind of a broad bristled brush, just kind of slop it around, but it goes up everything, which is really kind of nice, at least on these two. Okay. That's how this day is going. Fortunately, okay, the gun barrels didn't break off. None of the paint bottles were open. I need to not touch anything for about 15 seconds here. That was pretty cool. I knocked over all four of them, did it right on camera, just like I promised things would happen today. So this is a good time to show you what I'll be working on next. I've got this model, which I'm not going to work on today. Okay, I'm probably going to end a little early today. This is a boulette that has been infested, and it's been infested with a fungus. And to give you an idea of what has happened to it, this is a monster I had painted some time ago. You can see the mycelium coming up from the ground up into the creature. And this is the paint scheme that this is going to have, because this is kind of our standard infested with fungus monster kind of thing. So it's a kind of a beige with red streaky stuff all over, and the appendages get painted yellow with green. So this is going to be beige underneath. Just going to lay it down because it's going to fall anyway. It's going to be painted beige underneath the scales, and then the mushrooms and stuff will be painted that yellow with the green. And then the plates on top, the armored plates will be, it's kind of like original brown with a dark brown wash on it to make it look kind of mottled. Okay, and these things are growing up and into it. And then it's got these festering sores. And there's either going to be black with red ooze or red with black ooze. I'm not sure which. I have to check with our DM to see which way it's going to go. The other thing I need to, that's it. And I'm not working on this today because these little spiky things are really fragile. And you can tell by the way things have been going here already that the odds of me breaking some of these off by just coming within inches of it are pretty high. Set this down way over there. Way over there. And I'm going to then, I'm not going to pick this up. I'm just going to move the camera. That is the Savoia S21. That's Porco Rosso's plane. And the Porco Rosso plane is a cutaway model. That is, the fuselage lifts off and exposes the inside of all the detail on the inside of the plane, like the detailed cockpit, the machine guns and things. And I assembled some of that if you've typed in a really long thing about, hi, Ole, thanks for dropping in. I was just, you're missing an adventurous stream today. I've been sleep deprived because the dogs got up early, and I have knocked over the wash water once. I knocked over all of these models that I'm working on twice. I've spilled paint only once. I am not picking that up to show people because I don't want to break it. But I'm going to get back to that model on Monday. I'll show you the box. Yeah, you can catch back. You just missed it. It was 10 minutes ago. I knocked over all 4 of these and a couple paint bottles with one swoop. It was pretty impressive. Anyway, this is the model I'm working on, and this is the interior detail. This is the cockpit, and what I need to work on next is the instrument panel, and that's going to take probably forever next week. And then it comes with this really neat, nicely detailed Porco Rosso. Oh, thank you, Enforcer, for repeating that, because it didn't come through the first time. And I'm going to put my other glasses on so I can read it. But I'm going to get back to that model next week because, well, maybe I need to work on the boulette, the infested boulette first. I'm going to be finishing these guys today, and when they're done, I'm going to quit before I lost my glasses. Oh. On the plane? No, the plane doesn't have an electric motor in it. Here. That is the fuel tank. This plane, okay, this is really pretty impressively dangerous. And I would pick up the model and show it to you, but as I was assembling it, I talked about that. The machine guns are mounted up here. This is the front of the model up here. Okay. Here, maybe I'll do that. Here. This was cemented in, and then it came off. Okay, well, there's a thing. So the machine guns are mounted up here in the front, and then there's sort of a firewall, sort of. But that's actually a fabric, like canvas, stretched across a wooden frame. And then there's the fuel tank. And between the fuel tank and the pilot is this. Nothing, just a frame. And so the pilot sits here. These are the rudder pedals there, okay? And that's the fuel tank, and all that's between the pilot, the rudder pedals, and there the rudder pedals are actually underneath this piece. That's where the instrument panel attaches. It goes on the front here. So there's absolutely nothing between the fuel tank and the pilot, which I think is a really bad idea. The only thing I can think of is maybe there is like a fuel gauge on the front here, like a little window or something. It wouldn't be a fuel gauge. It would just be a window so that when you looked at the fuel tank, you could see how much was in it. But yeah, so this part here was but is no longer attached. Yay. I'll have to do that. I'll have to reattach that. So these bits here are this cage around the cockpit. Yes, it did. Thank you, Enforcer. Well, that's a really cool character. Enforcer, you are really good at developing characters. I know you enjoy it, but that's good because you're very good at it. And I hope you have a chance to play them. Anyway, I'm going to go back to doing that when I get back to working on the plane. I'm going to be working on the instrument panel, which, if you've done airplanes before, instrument panels are really tiny with gauges and dials and buttons and stuff on them, and difficult to paint, even for a skilled painter, and I'm not. Have a good dinner, and thanks for dropping in. And I hope you can drop in again on Friday, because I'm going to be working on the boulette on Friday. Trying to remember what I'm doing. Dark gray wash. These models from head to toe are going to be painted with a dark gray wash. The boulette should be kind of fun. There's really huge surfaces on it. So the base coating is just going to be lots of base coating. But then the mycelium veins that need to be painted those will just take a long, long time because there's so much surface area that needs to be painted. And then the whole thing's gone over with this olive green wash. I'm just going to do this without the head magnifier. I think I can, because it's pretty much just making sure that everything is kind of coated with this stuff. It dries kind of quickly, so I'm going to put too much. I'm going to squeeze out too much. But as it evaporates, the pigment gets darker and darker. So I just I wanted to kind of build up in the creases and crevices, but I don't want it what it is right there, which is too dark. And I don't want splotches. When I'm done washing this, there is, even put it on the beard a little bit, and definitely on the gun. It's always amazing to me how, with the washes, they end up looking best when they're just splotched on. As long as the buildup is in the right creases and crevices and not just dumb blotches. You'll be able to see a before and after on this in just a bit, because I'm getting onto the after part. It ends up just looking like a whole lot better when this is done than it did before. Here's a before and after. It's kind of a subtle difference, but you can see that there's just, it is just looks more rugged, Nicole is really good at this. Our D&D player who plays Zoria Ansul is a trained artist and just It's like, oh, put a little bit more there. That's where the wear pattern is. It's like, okay, I'm just lucky I can get it on here at all and make it look kind of like okay. And when I'm done, the wash is going to dry. And then I'm going to paint the base, and then they'll be finished. Kept my color charts so I know what color the base is supposed to be painted. And then there's I know I'm going to forget this. On some of these, there's a band on the beard, just kind of holding the base. There's one there. And those are supposed to be painted azure. It's the house color, the color of the clan. And I'm not going to remember to do that, I bet. So Enforcer, will you know by Friday whether you're going to be playing this weekend or not? Will you be able to tell us whether or not you're going to be playing and what you'll be playing, D&D or Heroes? I really hope you have a chance to do that, because I know, as you said, since the hurricane, you haven't been able to get your group together. And it would be great if you could all join together again. Take these off. I can put the other ones on. Setting it down because I know I'm going to knock it over. How do I know that? Because it's that kind of day. When it's that kind of day, it's that kind of day. Yeah, I didn't want to be using this paper towel to do what I was just doing. I wanted to keep that clean because it's a good background, not just for the camera, but for me. The cardboard base here serves its purpose, but it's hard to see against it. So I found that by putting a paper towel down like that, it just makes a better background for everybody involved here. But unthinkingly, I started using it as my blotter. So that's going to have to be replaced with a fresh one. Not a big deal. I can reuse this as a brush cleaning cloth. Our artist would say, well, you should do a little more here and a little more there and some of this here and there. And I would go, I can't. It isn't that I don't do that. It's that I just don't know how to do that. There, too much got on there. No, I'm trying to catch as much of the folds and creases and gaps and things as I can to highlight the armor. On Friday, I'm looking forward to hearing. I'm looking forward to hearing you say that you are going to resume playing this weekend. And then on Monday, I look forward to hearing about how the session went. Because I know you have been away from it for a long time and really kind of miss your friends. And good luck at the job fair. I am in the envious position of having worked all I'm going to work. Okay. I am very much retired because when one is over the hill, I am so far over the hill that I am down deep in the valley below. That's probably the best way to put it. I have been pretty much retired now for quite a while, and I'm glad of that. You know, some people don't retire all that well, but put 30 plus years of work in, and at some point it's just like, yeah, I have better things to do with my life, like painting minis for a Dungeons and Dragons show, or at least easier things. Personal story is, yes, of course I am retired. Doesn't it look like I should be? This is coming along okay. This palette is so done. I'm going to throw it away after today's session, just so I'm not tempted to reuse it anymore. And I'll probably spend like half of the day tomorrow looking for. I know they're in a drawer behind me somewhere, but there's more than one drawer, so that means I ought to be searching. I bought a package of these things. I think there was a dozen in the package. Well, the barrels came out okay. I think those look all right. Yeah, I mean, maybe in the bottles. I like the way the bottles came out. That combination of the undercoat of the green with the yellow on it, and they're kind of glossy, a little bit glossy. I think those look pretty good. I am satisfied with that. And I could make the barrels darker, but I'm not sure that would make it look any better. Okay, I'm done with the black wash here. And all I have left to do on these guys now is to paint the base. And the base is going to be the same color as the base of this one. That one. Did I do all that? Was I on? I think I was on camera. Well, I've talked about what I was going to do and what I did and how it looks like it's coming out okay. And I haven't. The spills and thrills of today are, well, they haven't been horrible. They haven't been fatal, at least. So the bases, you can see the bases are all kind of really ugly right now because it's just all the paint from everything above it splashed around on it. I'm going to use a small brush to paint around the feet, and then a bigger brush, small and big in terms of bristles, not in terms of like the size of the handle or the length or anything like that. Those words are really ambiguous, aren't they? Small or large. Hand me the small brush. And then they hand you this brush. It's about that long, but it's got a big fan bristle on it. You didn't mean small in terms of length. You meant small in terms of bristles. Like this is small and this is larger. Okay. And this is even larger, even though they're all pretty much the same length. Or you'd say, hand me the large one, and it's a brush with a point like this, but the handle is like 1.5 inches in diameter. So yeah, precision is difficult using words. But what color is the base supposed to be? Dark sand. Okay. So that gives me an opportunity to get one more bottle of paint. You know, it gives me a chance to reach over and almost knock it down again. So this is, see how carefully I've been putting everything away after I've done using it so that I can find it again. Right. Sometime before Friday, I need to put all those bottles of paint away so that I can have work surface to work on, and I only have the ones that I need. Dark sand. It's in here somewhere. That's bone white. That's definitely not it. Dark sand. It only took me, since I put them away carefully before and they're sort of sorted by color. I hope to replicate that with the mess that I made here. That is to say, put them away in a manner that allows me to find them again. I'm going to use this fine pointed brush. I won't say small because, you know, when you look at them, it's no smaller than that. It's the same size, both in length and in width. But it's fine point as opposed to broader bristle. Well, I thought it was going to end early today, but as it's going, this took so much longer than I thought it would. Mainly because I did test patches, a bunch of test patches for different colors and washes and overcoats and things like that. Not overcoats, like the one I was wearing earlier today because it's cold out, but coating over. Yeah, so I'm going to paint around the feet with this finer pointed brush and then use the one with more bristles on it to finish, because it'll go faster than if I use this little bitty brush, little fine pointed brush, not bitty, it's not little. Once again, the ambiguity of words. I find that when I'm working with some, doing things with a family member, is that sometimes the words mean something different to them than it does to me. It's like the one word is, so when you're positioning something, okay, what does it mean when someone says move it forward? Okay, that might be a challenge. Why not? You could do that. So that was a challenge. Are you going to do it or not? Well, if it's fauna, right, they're sisters, so you'd have to change the whole backstory, kind of. I think it's kind of fun when players challenge each other about their characters. I want to paint this one now. Right. Oh, yeah. It's the dragon character. So, right. So it is totally different. Well, I was planning to finish about noon, which has come and gone. I'm going to finish when I finish. I'm going to be done today when I am done with these bases. And if I remember, and I may or may not, actually, I'm going to get this. I'm going to put this Azure paint out. I want to put it right there where it'll be in the way. Because the point of that paint is there's these little tie bands, little band. You can maybe see it there on their beard. And on the other ones that were painted, those are painted the azure color, which is the house color for this group of dwarves. And it's not washed, right? It's just the plain clear azure. And it's just a little detail that might actually show up on camera. And I'm going to try to remember it. The bands only show on these ones that are carrying these weapons. The ones that are carrying the gas throwers, they don't, because the beards are down into their armor. And I messed up the foot there. I don't know. If this were a display model, I would definitely fix that. Well, good luck. Good luck with the job fair. And I hope your ride comes through okay. So see you on Friday. I'm looking forward to Enforcer joining in on. Yeah, the paintbrush is on the floor. Looking forward to hearing if Enforcer is going to be able to get back into the game. I hope she does. I hope they do. Okay. So this is much faster with a brush that has more bristles. I won't say a larger brush because it is, in most of its dimensions, like length and width, handle width, the same size as the other one, so it's really not larger. I could go on. I should do that. That's what I'll do on Friday. Instead of whining about the Mickey Mouse Club, guest star day, talent roundup day, circus day, fun with music day, anything can happen day. The Mouseketeers, I don't think the Mouseketeers did anything. That's why I was going to watch an episode, if I could find one. I don't know if you can get old ones on Netflix or YouTube or whatever. But I wanted to find one to find out if the Mouseketeers actually did anything on the Mickey Mouse show, or whether they just introduced themselves and said, it's guest star day, and here's our guest star. And they all just stood around and watched the guest star be a star. Okay? Or fun with music day. Oh, here's somebody playing music. And they all just sort of stood around. I don't think they got to sit. I think they had to stand. Although I'm not sure about that. There might have been like a bleachers or a gallery, where they got to maybe they even just didn't even stand around. Maybe they just sat around. Their musical guest or their guest star, their rounded up talent did their thing. And at the end, they would all come down and go, oh, that was terrific. Thank you for using up all the time in the show so we didn't have to do anything. I'm somehow imagining that that's how the show went. And then there was always a short, like Spin and Marty or something, and that used up more time. And they didn't even have to be on camera. They didn't even have to sit in a gallery watching somebody pretending to be interested. Okay. They were just totally off camera while this other thing played for maybe 10 minutes or something of the show. I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes. Beginning to sound like being a Mouseketeer was a pretty good gig. Didn't have to do squat except cheer on your rounded up talent. And then at the end, got to come down and go, here's your hat, here's your ears. You're an honorary Mouseketeer. There's the paint bottle being knocked over. Do this one first. Oh, of course, it's kneeling down. Of course it is. So it would make painting the base challenge. What's up with that? Right near the end of the stream, right? Right when my focus is like totally gone. But yeah, I need to find an old episode of the Mickey Mouse Club, because in thinking about it and describing it, I don't think they had to do anything ever. I mean, occasionally, maybe one of the Mouseketeers had a talent. You know, maybe they could sing or dance or something, and on Anything Could Happen Day. Definitely not on Guest Star Day, because you had to have a guest star, you know. And if you were a Mouseketeer, you couldn't be one of the guests. That would, I mean, you couldn't. I mean, you couldn't be a guest to yourself. That's not what a guest is. So, and it wouldn't be a talent roundup day. You wouldn't do it. A Mouseketeer wouldn't perform on Talent Roundup Day, because they're rounding up talent on their Western theme show. You know, round yourself up because you're already there. So if one of the Mouseketeers actually did something, like performed in some way, it would maybe be Fun with Music Day. Maybe one of the Mouseketeers played an instrument. I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. I don't remember. You know, so maybe a couple of them would have fun with music that they actually played themselves. That's a possibility, I guess. Or on Circus Day, you know, maybe one of them would do a circus trick where they bounce on a trampoline or something. A trapeze that was 2 or 3 feet off the ground. It's possible, but I think the reality was that the Mouseketeers didn't really ever do anything. That's why they had all of these other days. It's like a variety show with a whole bunch of Mouseketeers watching other people do stuff. No, there's another one. Okay. So I painted around the feet of one, but not the other one. So I was going to switch brushes before doing the other one. I squeezed out more paint because that was starting to get really gummy. It stopped spreading nicely. Remembering the Fun with Music Day, there was a theme song that went with it. Fun with music, making music is fun. And then there were more words, but I don't remember them. I think the Mouseketeers. Oh yeah, the Mouseketeers sang little theme songs for each of the days. It's like there was one that said, "We're going to have a special guest." That was one of the lines in the song. You know, guest star day, something like that. So the Mouseketeers, I guess, did play a role in the show in that they sang the introductory music to tell us what day it was. Not like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but whether it was Fun with Music Day or Guest Star Day or Talent Roundup Day. You could tell it was Talent Roundup Day because, you know, it was all Westerny. I don't remember the theme song at all for Anything Can Happen Day. And I have admitted this before, I do not remember Circus Day at all, period. When I looked up what day was, what were the days on the Mickey Mouse Club, and I saw there was a Circus Day, I don't remember Circus Day. So when I look up a Mickey Mouse episode, maybe I should look up a Circus Day episode so that I could maybe trigger a recall memory. Spin and Marty being this Western thing, they had a, you know, typical Western tropes. There was a corral and horses. I think it was like a dude ranch kind of setting, you know, so it wasn't really Western. It was Ursat's Western. It must have been, I don't know, they must have solved mysteries or something, just like on Spin and Marty. I think Spin and Marty was the Applegate mystery thing. There must have been more than one. Step that foot. I'm gonna try to fix it by putting some black wash on it. I think we got. You can't really see it from the top. You can only see it from the side. But I got some of this dark sand paint way up on the side of the boot, way up higher than it needed to be, and it doesn't look good. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just get a little bitty brush and put some dark wash on it and try to cover it up. Because there's 3 layers on there. There's a brown underlayer, and then a diluted metallic, and then the black wash. And that's the downside of doing this kind of thing, is that when there's a 3-layered effect, you know, and something gets blopped over the top of it, I can't, you maybe can, I can't touch it up. So instead of trying to touch it up, I'm going to try to hide it. Seems to be, for me, the better part of valor, or in this case, admitting my limitations and not trying to do something I can't do. Okay. So this dark sand doesn't have to be incredibly uniform. It's just sort of sandy. It looks a little streaky. That's just okay. I was saying I was watching a Bob Ross. And he wasn't an impressionist painter, but he wasn't a realistic painter either. He's giving the impression of a mountain. These are impressions of pine trees and stuff like that. That's giving the impression of a not very well painted base. Okay, I remembered to do the Azure bit on the bands on the beards, and I remembered that because I put this paint out here as a reminder to do that. I'm going to try to get it where it's supposed to be and not where it isn't. So this kind of stands out brightly, and it was designed to do that on the original ones because it's their beard band, and their beard band is done in the color of their house, which is this light blue. I bumped the brush up against this little bit of the gun there. And I fixed that by just sticking my finger in it and dabbing it off. Yeah, you can see the beard band on this guy too. Can't see the beard band on the gas thrower guys. I don't need to remember to paint them because they're not visible. There from here. Okay, so there now you can see the beard bands on the beards of the projectile weapons guys. I said there's no beard band on these guys, but I messed up the boot here, and I'm going to attempt to fix it by simply covering it up. I'm going to cover it up with this wash, and all it's going to do is it's going to darken it. So it's not just this bright splotch of sand paint. Just to cover up. That might work. And it's working pretty pathetically. No, good enough. We'll be ending a little early today, I guess. Finally, turn these off. What I have accomplished over the span of like 5 hours is I've done what somebody who knows what they were doing would have accomplished in probably less than an hour and a half, which is to paint for Ulstein Gratfeld dwarf fighters, some sort. These guys, jeez, belching now. Yeah, and I did that without really any disaster, just some minor things like dropping things and knocking things over, but I haven't broken anything or hurt anything permanently. I didn't spill my coffee, and it's mostly empty. I'm going to drain it. And most importantly, I got to complain about the Mickey Mouse show and my ongoing concern that other than singing the theme song for whatever day it was, fun with music, we're going to have a special guest, and whatever they did on Circus Day. I mean, other than that, I'm not sure they ever did anything. I don't think they were paid very well, so, maybe they did what they were paid for. I don't know. I feel grumpy and curmudgeon-y now. I'm really tired. I'm becoming incoherent. But I did a decent job. I did a decent job of painting these guys, and I'm particularly pleased with how the poison gas bottle came out. I like that combination of a green undercoat with a translucent glossy yellow overcoat. And I am satisfied with how the barrels came out with the green undercoat and the wash on top of it. And these guys came out okay too. Painting the little bit of black on the scope, I think, added enough detail to it so that the weapon, it really made a big difference in how the weapon looks. I'm surprised how those little bits of black paint changed the appearance of the what I'm guessing is a Fervin Tech projectile weapon. At least that's my expectation, and we'll find out more about that when these guys show up on our show. I'm going to wrap up by saying Dyson Dungeons is a group of family and friends, and we put on a Dungeons and Dragons show that streams on Twitch with a live chat at 2 o'clock Michigan time, Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. But you can catch prior episodes on YouTube, or you can listen to them as a podcast. Either way, it works. It's a very entertaining show. I would strongly encourage you to catch it and become a follower or become a YouTube subscriber. Tell all your families and friends and acquaintances, strangers in the street, folks you bump into at work about how wonderful Dyson Dungeons is and how they should watch our Dungeons and Dragons show. And if you want to, you can always join in the spin-off, which is not a Spin and Marty show, even though it has the word spin in it. Spin-off in the sense of Mork and Mindy was a spin-off of Happy Days. This spin-off, which was preparing minifigs and dungeon tiles for the show, as I did this week. I prepared 4 Ulstein Grotfeld combatants that we will no doubt run into and have to survive on our show. And that's how this painting stream started. And I followed up on that tradition by actually doing that today. And then on Friday, I will be working on a fungus-infected boulette, which is over there, and I'm not going to reach for it because I will knock something over or break it or something. But you'll see it on Friday. It's a very large creature. Boulettes are huge. This one is not only a boulette, which is dangerous in and of itself, but it's fungus infected. And so I'll be painting it in the same theme colors as I will pick up this very delicate thing, this guy who is also fungus infected. But yeah, I'll be starting to work on that on Friday. And I don't know if that was created just to have it around because it might be cool looking, or whether in fact we are going to have to battle at some point a fungus-infected boulette, which will, I don't know. Maybe what we'll be able to do is cure it instead. Like the old story of the lion with the thorn. The lion is all dangerous, but some little boy comes up and says, "Oh, you got a thorn in your foot," and pulls it out. And now the lion is all happy and friendly and everything like that. Maybe that's what's going to happen with the boulette, is that we will cure it of its fungus infection and it will become a companion. Or not. Thanks for joining in today. I appreciate it. Those of you who joined in chat and also the new follower, thanks so much. Seriously, we would love to have many, many more followers. We would love to have YouTube subscribers, not only on this stream, but especially on the Dungeons and Dragons show. And if you very much like what you see, go to patreon.com/diceanddungeons, patreon.com/diceanddungeons, and become a patron. And if you become a patron, you have access to our Dungeon Masters notes, our warm-up improvs, and at a certain level, you even get to be named in the credits for the D&D show. Let's see. Yeah, the big deal today is that I am going to retire this palette because it is no longer salvageable and get a new one. So on Friday, you'll get to see a bright, shiny, new, clean palette. Something to look forward to. And maybe I'll continue railing on about the Mickey Mouse show, or maybe I'll move on to something else. I don't know. See you then. Thanks again.